Most Destiny 2 veterans know of the Old Fashioned. It's one of the only weapons that originated in Year 1 that had kill clip on it, and of course it's a hand cannon, so kill clip on a hand cannon at the time when that wasn't exactly a very common thing was incredibly powerful, especially in Year 1 since it actually shifted your time to kill and allowed you to get a 3-tap in a world where hand cannons usually were a 4-tap. Fast forward to now, Old Fashioned is back in the loot pool, except now it has random rolls, so different perks you can get other than kill clip, but of course still including that. Now, as much as there's a lot of really good perk combinations you can get on the Old Fashioned, things like Slide Shot, Demolitionist, Quick Draw, Moving Target, Explosive Rounds, and Kill Clip, some of the strongest perks available in the game on this hand cannon, I'm here to talk about one very specific perk that is exclusive to this hand cannon and no other hand cannon can roll with. And that perk that we're going to be talking about is Firmly Planted. I've always thought Firmly Planted is an amazing perk, really great, but this is the first time that we're seeing it on a hand cannon, and I would really love to see more hand cannons with this perk. I've always regarded Firmly Planted as a top tier perk, mainly because it's one of the few perks in the game that allow you to increase your accuracy, which is a really big deal. So Firmly Planted reads, increased accuracy, stability, and handling when firing while crouched. This perk, simply for crouching, hits all the main areas you want to prioritize in terms of stats on a weapon, especially a hand cannon in this case. Increased accuracy means two things. We're going to tighten the accuracy cone, which means the area of where your bullets can kind of deviate other than going dead center, or otherwise known as an error angle. A tighter accuracy cone means less chance to deviate from the center or shooting completely straight, which is really important for consistency and consistency at range. Accuracy is also responsible for the chances of your bullet going completely pinpoint straight, which is usually what you want most of the time. So this is another direct benefit. Also, the tighter the accuracy cone, to try and put this very simply, technically means the more chance of aim assist kicking in on your shots and doing what it does, landing you those shots. The stability bonus is also pretty important because stability is responsible for how much your aim assist cone, yes, this is a separate cone from your accuracy cone, but they do kind of work hand in hand. But stability is responsible for how much your aim assist cone shrinks after firing repeatedly. So because this is increasing stability, I can only assume that this means it's going to mitigate how much your aim assist cone is also shrinking. But to say this without the jargon and the accuracy and all these cones, basically what this means is Firmly Planted is going to give you a very high degree of consistency across all different ranges and for hitting headshots consistently and with ease. So let's take a look at the perk in action. We can see when firing without Firmly Planted, we see the lines on the crosshair flare out, which means our accuracy cone, that is what is visually representative of the accuracy cone, is expanding as we fire. However, let's take a look at our accuracy cone when we're firing when crouched with Firmly Planted. We can see that those lines don't flare out at all, even on controller, which is pretty nuts. This means your accuracy cone, as far as we can see here, is not expanding or is expanding very little. I also believe that if you pay attention to the little circle part, because of the added stability, it would appear as though it is not shrinking quite as much as it would without Firmly Planted, which means our aim assist cone, which is what the circle is visually responsible for representing, is not shrinking as much. Now you might be thinking, well, what if I don't want to crouch in every gunfight? That's taking away a lot of my mobility as a player, my evasiveness, and sometimes ability to line up shots. Well, this is where Firmly Planted is actually really crazy. So you can see in this diagram made by Mercules of Destiny Massive Breakdowns, he tries to show and explain the idea of what initial accuracy, meaning the first shot taken on a weapon, compared to final accuracy is. And you can see that initial accuracy and secondary accuracy, meaning the second shot fired after your first repeatedly, they both have a pretty tight accuracy cone and a pretty wide aim assist cone, meaning your bullet's most likely to go straight, as well as it's most likely to have aim assist kick in and magnetize the bullet to the target. Now, why this kind of jargon and in-depth explanation is important is because knowing this, you can actually start a gunfight with Old Fashioned, if you have Firmly Planted on it, standing and strafing, because your initial accuracy is going to be good. Usually your second shot accuracy is going to be pretty good. However, Firmly Planted appears to revert the hand cannon's accuracy directly back to initial accuracy immediately when crouching. So again, what does this mean? This means you could actually start and put 1 shot in while strafing, 2 shots in while strafing, and instead of getting that kind of not good accuracy on your 3rd shot when firing at near max rate of fire, you crouch and you get back to essentially what was your 1st shot accuracy, which is insane. Again, this means you can start gunfights normally, pop a crouch in for your last shot or so, and have nearly perfect accuracy as if you were starting the gunfight. That is crazy. We can also take a look at the stability and recoil pattern of this hand cannon being completely night and day with firmly planted active and without it active. It's an insanely stark difference in how consistent and tight the recoil pattern is with firmly planted active. I forgot to mention as well, for those of you that don't want to just be sitting or crouching into gunfights, firmly planted actually works while sliding, which is also nuts because you can get those benefits while of course maintaining your mobility. Firmly planted is the consistency bonus that I would really love to see on more hand cannons in the game. I think this perk is insane in terms of what it offers, and again, I'm hoping that we see it on more hand cannons. Dire Promise is another hand cannon being added to the world loot pool that I think might have potential of seeing this perk on, which would be pretty nuts. I would definitely want one of those. Now, the problem with this, the problem is not the perk itself, it's not the gun it's on, it's the loot pool, it's the likeliness of actually getting this gun, the old-fashioned with firmly planted, or even a decent roll to begin with, because that loot pool, the world loot pool or the engram loot pool, is so cluttered. It is incredibly hard to get a roll of the old-fashioned that's remotely decent, let alone get one to drop to begin with, and get it with firmly planted and again decent perks otherwise. It's just so hard, and it's such a shame because this hand cannon really is so consistent. I think that this could be a great pick for many people, especially those on controllers, since hand cannons aren't always the most consistent thing on controllers to begin with. We have a ton of new activities coming out that have a lot of new potential loot. Things like the new PvE activities and the loot that they will have. There's going to be trials, of course, and like I said, things like Dire Promise and even just the faction weapons coming back into the loot pool as well. And I'm hoping that some of these hand cannons at the least will have firmly planted as an available perk, even if it meant having slightly worse stats in exchange for this, just because again I think that this perk is just absolutely nuts in terms of what it offers. It offers my favorite thing, I'm sure, that I've been talking about on the channel for so long, and that's consistency. It offers a degree of consistency that I think I can only say something like Not Forgotten has offered in the past, which again is why I'm such an advocate of this perk. And to speak a little bit more generally about firmly planted, I think it's incredible on a multitude of weapons. Nearly every weapon with this perk is very good. I've really been enjoying the combination of firmly planted moving target on my old-fashioned, and I even used that on one of my beloveds that I actually posted a 60 defeat game with. Of course, I didn't quite get to mention that firmly planted does give you a boost to handling as well, which is great depending on the weapon type. It's not super impactful on a hand cannon, but it's nice to have. So if you happen to have a firmly planted old-fashioned, I recommend taking it out of vault and giving it a try. And if you haven't gotten one of these, maybe right now before the next season is actually the best time to be playing your chance or luck, because the loot pool, which is already very crowded, is about to get even more crowded with tons of armor sets, which means less likelihood of you getting an old-fashioned with firmly planted. So maybe right now is the time to be spending legendary shards or dumping your fractaline to try and get a firmly planted one. Of course, thank you for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you want to see more content like this, you can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Drewskys. I stream very regularly, so I hope to see you there. Otherwise, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.